Welcome to Unity Pflugerville, Unity Spiritual Center of Pflugerville, and I am the guest speaker. My name is Randy Koehler. I'm board president of this congregation, this wonderful congregation. And today's topic is worthiness. I had no idea what I was getting into when this topic was chosen. So, it was written 3 times, and all 3 times was different. So I just said, where are we going with this? So you might wonder where I'm going with this a little bit, somewhere through this thing, but we're just going to put your spiritual seatbelts on and hang on. Okay. So to me, like all of our sayings today, we are worthy of all of God's love. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done in life. We are all worthy. So, for someone like me, I wonder how come it's such a task to feel like I'm worthy in life, in the everyday stuff. Worthy of the goodness, worthy of favor, or worthy of all different kinds of things, really. So, worthiness is a complex emotion. Feeling worthy can be easier said than done. Still, without it, we earn the good things in life the hard way. And that seems to be what it's been for me at times. Sometimes I fall into it, and it's just wonderful. And I'm happy to have it. Other times I feel like I couldn't create it to save my life. So I still felt like I fall back on a training that is from childhood. So I have never doubted God's love in my life when I took command of being on the path, making a conscious effort to walk the path of Christ. And so, after that, I never doubted God's love for me or for anybody. But there's still this worthiness thing that just keeps hanging in there. And sometimes I didn't know how deeply it was rooted within me until these writings came about. And as most of you know, when I get to the inspiration table or my writing table, I'm trying to put everything else that is the Randy, aside and let the heart come through. Because to me, that's where the truth is. It truly comes through deep within me. And this one will never be this clever or this wise. This one is the one that has the wisdom. So trying to get out all that garbage and go through and get to the truth, to the heart of the matter, is what a lot of this was all about. So knowing that, a Bible is always a great place to start or to stay or to read or whatever you'd like, I thought I'd go to the Bible and try to find where worthiness made some statements or whatever of what the Bible said about worthiness, and it's all over the place. So worthiness is, a lot of it in the Bible was talking about the love of God. And so trying to tie that together with what I was going through from time to time was worthiness of everything else, And so the tie wasn't really tied very well for me. Still trying to be the best person I can be, to do good for people, and to be as compassionate as I can. I still felt like there was portions of me that wasn't worthy of the good in my life. And I can tell you that is demented thinking. It truly is. I mean, that's just nuts. So I've got it written down here somewhere. The emotional training about worthiness that I have acquired, I owe to no one but me. I put my own hurdles that I have to jump over in order to exercise what I already own. And I thought, that's exactly what that is. Because I have, some people would call them your own demons, some people would call them hurdles, some people would call them whatever you want to call them, roadblocks. We kind of create a lot of that ourselves. So the owning up to what we already own for me was a little bit tougher than I ever thought. You know, cashing in on it. You know, do we cash in on our own divinity? Do we cash in on our own goodness? I don't know where to go with all that. But the more I got into it, the more I saw how much I was doing to myself. And so, opening up to really the driver inside me now. The driver used to be up here. This used to drive everything. I mean, I was as clever as this one thought I was, you know, and all the little goodies, and it wound up being a disaster. You know, when I started letting this one drive, life changed. And to me, that's when we start learning and start exercising our true divinity. There was something I wanted to say in here. Now, some of you might think this is a shameless plug for this book. I don't know who the author is, but the title of this one is simply Thank You. And I wasn't really going to read it all, but I think it will work here. Trusting my faith with my life through the thick and thin, like belief in a power misunderstood, unseen by mortal man. I've seen sometimes go my way, where every step I took was blessed, and I've seen the dark side shine so bright, it blinded me to the rest. So, thank you for the intellect I've learned along the way. It's led me to a place confined, with nothing much to say. And thank you for the things I do while walking on this land, and thank you for the truths unknown I walk with hand in hand. Ears to the right to choose what life I want to lead. The list is long and none are wrong, while sharing love along the way. Thank you for the grounding when my head inflates so much. The rug that's pulled out from under me with a kind and gentle tug. Let me not forget the darkness that leads me to the light, a special love that shines in me and guides me through the night. Here's to a complex ego living large every day. It's made me think it was my strength, but now it's in my way. Trusting in this faith with all that I am, I'm leaving my lessons learned and ready to be born again. So, there is something I want to go over this a little bit here. In the things that I was thinking of, that worthiness was something we had to aspire to. So, you know, I was down here and worthiness was up here. And truly, you know, it's like getting a ladder over there and then having to climb up to the worthiness. And, you know, so for me, the first thing was, rung number one was seeing the good in life. So that's, I had to look this up online. The Oracle, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That was a blessing. Okay, so that was number one. I mean, if I've got this going on, that's a good first step toward worthiness. All right, the second rung on there was controlling my frame of mind, keeping myself in a good mood. Sometimes that's tough. With all the things going on around us, sometimes a good mood is a really good start to the day. And then the third rung, being a positive person, making a positive contribution in life. To me, that's the third rung, and then maybe I'm worthy of worthiness. So there were my ladder. There's my stepping stones right there, right? And what's funny is I never knew those. I had to sit down and write it from the heart before I really put any of this to conscious to a conscious forefront for me. Now, like I said, that kind of thinking is kind of nuts, especially with everything that I am here, I am whole as I am. So we are already there. So even if we're in a bad mood, even if we don't feel that great, even if we don't speak that great, can we still do something good, something positive for somebody? Of course we can. Absolutely. And if we can, who needs a ladder? You're already on the same plane as worthiness. We're already right there. So whether we're feeling down or whether we're not in the greatest spirit, we can still do a spiritual thing. Still do something positive for life. So we've got a couple other goodies in there.
Randy,
Some of these weren't bad.
everybody, these are photos that Randy has taken that I am flipping through, okay?
So that was gorgeous. That's down in Gonzales. Goliad. Down in Goliad. And it's one of the churches that was over by in the Texas Independence. But when those clouds came up like that, I mean, you know, that speaks to you right there. That's really cool. I like that stuff. So, and you'll see a lot of sunsets and sunrises. I mean, y'all know, you've seen that from me before, so I really love it. It really speaks to me. I've said that twice now already. Okay, I'm another hurdle. Okay, so the last one was ego. Oh boy. And ego wanted its say, big time. So ego got written 3 times, and each time ego got smaller and smaller and smaller. And I hear this little one back there going, hey, what's up with this? It's interesting. Keeping my ego in check was something that was so important because to me, ego made me feel like I was either way up here or I was lower than low. And if I was lower than low, the ego says it wasn't my fault. It's you. I'm going, wait a minute now. But ego likes to keep you down, and then it likes to blow you up bigger than. And how long can we be around somebody that's way up here, right? When they start that business, I gotta leave because it's awful. I can't be around it long. So, and I'm not saying I was ever like that, but. So anyway, keeping my ego in check was something whenever I made the conscious effort to get on the path was easier to do than I thought, because walking on the path, meditation had to be my partner through the whole thing. Meditation started it. It started me off good and started my feet walking. And so once that happens, and you learn that ego wants its say no matter where you are. Even when you're in a nice meditation, ego comes in there and starts at whispering, not now. You know, just not now. This is not the place, not the time, not now. So the meditation helped me to start to control the ego. And then, of course, the further we get along on our path, we find out that it gets easier and easier to do, because it's not, we're not so much a part of that anymore. You just get a mind change, a shift in there. The more you walk, you don't, and you know, the path is as wide as you want to make it. So, I mean, if you're up there and you're on a 10-foot wide path, you got a lot of maneuvering you can do. You know, you got lots of room, lots of freedom. And you can still be on the path. And that's really a cool thing, you know, for somebody like me that likes to toe the line. And I don't mean toe the line, I mean I got a toe right on that line, you know. So I'm not always walking down the center. I'm somewhere around the whole thing because I'm enjoying it all. And I do like to have fun. So there's fun all the way around that path. And I'm in it. And I love it. And so the one or two things that I got out of it more than anything else was, number one, I create my own hurdles. When I can learn that I am worthy of all of it already, and I was worthy of it the second I was conceived, or however early you want to put it, was worthy way back when. So, but sometimes in some of our thinking, a humble man or a humble person doesn't have to make all that noise. And so you don't need to have all of the accolades, you don't need to have all of the glitter and everything else. So it's always been tough for me to accept praise. I'm a person that likes to give back to life because I've had a good life. So I want to give back to life just as good or better than what it gives me. So I want to be on the low side of all of the stuff, all of the talk. And so handling it has been one of the things I've been having to work my way through. So that goes back to the worthiness. So all of a sudden I put that aside, but to bring it all together. For me, when I truly can put that I am loved and that I am worthy of all the love and all the goodness, then I open myself up to receiving it. And if I don't feel that way, then I don't receive it all. So I'm not putting it into total practice. So I have some things to work on. I have some things to kind of mellow out. You know, instead of making steps, maybe it needs to be a little ramp for a little while before I get on an even plane. I don't know. But there's something there for me. And without all of this, writing it all out as many times as I did, some of it never flushes out. So, does anybody else have an experience on something like this that you want to share? Because worthiness is a complex emotion. And sometimes it's hard to get a handle on. because it's elusive. It can be in many different pockets that you hide, that I hid, and I didn't know about it. So, you know. Okay, so nobody wants to talk about that? I don't blame you. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How,
Do you have a microphone?
no, I'm just, real quick, you being the man you are, your father's here today, I'm curious to know what he's taught you about being worthy,
Well,
and how you've applied it to
Dad.
your life.
testing, 1, 2, 3. You got it? You got it on?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay. I'll make sure I don't have mine. Thank you. Well, Mr. Koehler, that's a good answer, or a good question.
No.
Dad, that's for you.
I have a hearing disability. I did not hear what he has.
I was more asking you what you've learned about worthiness from him.
My dad and I have had a friendship as well as a father-son relationship since I was a teenager. We clashed pretty hard as young fathers and sons do, and so we agreed that a friendship would be the best for us. So we have been best friends our whole lives. And worthiness, I don't know where I could say that works in that relationship, but I can say that there's a strength you get when in your physical life, you know you have a loving relationship with your support family. And my mother and my father have been always loving support. So it helps me to have the confidence to step out there when not all the answers are there for you. And so if you gotta battle your own way through it, the neat thing about the loving family is they're there to keep you right along, just like a church family. And that's really cool. You know, our spiritual growth here is worth more than anything I could ever imagine on this planet. There is nothing out here that could buy the feelings that I feel when I'm with the church group and we are all thinking pretty much the same thing or feeling pretty much the same thing. It is a wonderful place to be. So, I don't know if that answers the question, but my parents have always been loving support. Yes, ma'am.
I want to acknowledge you today for being up there. I think one of the most difficult things is we're all taking chances. Some of us are taking chances to get up there. And it's one of the toughest things to get through. And you all see it as your turn comes up. And I know you've been up front before because you come up with all kinds of amazing things about yourself. So I acknowledge you for working through them today.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So one of the things I think is super interesting about worthiness is, you know, we're in our head, you know, 99.9 whatever % of the time, and when we're in relationship with others, and we have different ideas in others, and being able to be okay with, you know, you've got to do this your way, I've got to do this my way, and maintaining that sense of worthiness for both of us, I find to be sometimes challenging, to remember that we're both children of God, and that we just experience life differently. And so the 3 runs helped me this morning. I needed to kind of hear that sometimes you don't feel very good about maybe how an interaction has gone, even though you knew that you had to do what you had to do for your own well-being. But to remember, okay, you know, how do we work through that? How do we get back up to that sense of wellness. You know, because not everything goes the way that we want to go on the planet Earth. And so I will take that with me as, okay, when I'm feeling less than, you know, I've got those rungs to bring me back to the truth of who I am. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am?
You know, I always have this thing about not being good enough. But worthiness is totally different, and I didn't realize it until today when you were talking about worthiness. So I'm not good enough is different from worthiness. And worthiness stops the good coming to you. It gives me a lot to ponder. Thank you, Andy.
Yes, ma'am?
I like when you said, when you were talking about the 3 rungs, and then afterwards you said that, oh, maybe I'm in a bad mood, or I'm thinking negative thoughts, and that none of that really matters, that I'm worthy no matter what. So it doesn't depend on the state of my beingness, it's regardless, it's always true, no matter how I'm feeling.
Our actions can go so much further than what we feel about ourselves. And, you know, like, doing something good for somebody is the simplest thing to do. And even though you might not be in the right frame of mind for all of it, that has nothing to do with it, really. If you make that action of good, you're already right there. And it helps pull you out of most of it anyways. I mean, what? Oh, this is good. So, if you've done something good for somebody, how do you feel?
Really good.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time we feel pretty darn good. And then, you know, and then the ego says, yeah, well, that wasn't bad. You know, you could have done this, you know. It's like, oh, shut up. So, yeah, to do something good can just pull you right out of there and let you know you're right where you need to be. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I want to appreciate you for your compassion and your willingness to do good.
Thank
You
you.
do a lot of things that people aren't aware of.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Are we ready to
Collect money.
collect money?
That's Tommy's attitude.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, we're saying goodbye.
Say thank you.
Bye, world. Bye, Mom.